Godless voice here. Last video I explained the word cancer self and what it means. This time I'm going to address the 12-step program. Initially I had written an article writing God out of the 12-step program. I replaced it with accountability. One of the things about the 12-step program that is most destructive, before I even get into that, the 12-step program does not actually work. There is no statistical information to prove that it works. The statistical information very rarely gets surfaced into the public. There have been a few cases in which it was, and in those cases, it is shown that the 12-step program is as effective as no program at all, which is roughly about a 5% ratio of a 5% success rate. 5% of people quit drugs and never touch them again. And that's how it goes for the 12-step program, and that's how it goes if you don't do it a program at all. I had to quit drugs on my own. So when I did that, I had rewritten the 12-step program. First step, which is to admit that you're powerless. That is psychologically unhealthy. If you're going to fix a problem, you need to find a way to understand how you are empowered to change it. Assuming that you can't change it set yourself up for failure. I'm not even sure how this has gone on for so long and still been acceptable. Not only acceptable, but mandated by the court. Whenever you have drug charges or alcoholism charges, alcohol-related charges, the court has the option to put you in a 12-step program. So the court is effectively sending you to a cult. And people argue that, oh, it's not a cult. Yes, it is. Second step. Assume that a higher power can help you. How is that not religious? You cannot not see that as religious. A higher power. Something greater than yourself. So we go into a double failure here. You're not allowed to assume that you can fix this yourself. And then you are required to assume that something else, some mental, psychological delusion, will fix you. That's batshit insane right there. That's crazy. And most of the other steps are reasonable, but not entirely. They break down into about 6 steps, really, with a little bit of a redundancy. Basically, you go through and admit that you're powerless. Failure. Assume that a higher power can help. Failure. Examine your past errors. That's a pretty good idea. Make amends. That is okay. I'm a little hazy on that one. Make amends on these errors. You end up running the chance of putting yourself to more stress. Now, if these are people that you are close to, fine. But you can't engross yourself in trying to clean up every little thing you've ever done. It's done, it happened. Move past it. And if it's something that's in your personal life, sure, you want to fix it. But if it's not in your personal life, unless you've done some great grievous loss to somebody, and even then it's questionable. You don't want to go to a family and, try to make amends for accidentally killing their kid or something. because that's just going to open up new wounds for them. That's going to create more stress for you. Whatever happened, they are either satisfied with you being out of their life or not satisfied that you've suffered enough. Live by a new code. This new code is a broken code. So that's thrown right out the window. And then help others. Really, is it necessary to help others? If you want to help others, sure, absolutely. More power to you. But if you don't feel up to helping others, you're just exposing yourself to the problem again. I would be more impressed with somebody that wants to help others. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to help. But to make that a requirement, not a good idea. There are some people that are not that strong. And to force them to expose themselves to more of the same problem is just a recipe for failure. Why even bother? People should be free to not have to do that. But that's actually one of the steps that's in their program. I rewrote this, and I thought I'd done some good. And some people accepted it and liked it and thought it was phenomenal that I had wrote an atheist version of the 12-step. But at some point, I have to sit down and admit that I am working with a broken system. I have taken a broken system and tried to make it work. Why not just make a new system? So, I'm going to leave some links down below. Penn and Teller did great coverage on this topic in one of their bullshit episodes. I'll find a link for that. And I'll also leave a link to what is called the Orange Papers. Grant, it's somewhat fanatical, but people that are dedicated to exposing the inappropriateness are going to be more inclined to find evidence, although sometimes they may find evidence that they mistaken, or they're going to be more biased towards finding evidence or assuming some evidence is in their favor. So you got to be careful about that. But beyond that, you find documents, you find actual sourceable proof. It's a good place to start. You start with the fanatics, because they will have that along with their wild interpretations of what is also evidence. So make sure you sort through that. Make sure you don't fall into a hole of buying into the crazy. And if you can do that, you'll find plenty of evidence that completely refutes the 12-step program. So, I'll leave you with that. And next video will be my personal interpretation of a good system.